Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I was at the bank teaching economics. Bobby, this is what you want to snack on. This kind of stuff. I listened to my economics guy, number 108 today. He has this like Wall Street guy on, and it's like, what the hell does he do that for? So, not a great show. You know, he's talking about gold stock. He's talking about stocks. It's like, okay, we don't care. So this episode 108, could silver break the current monetary system? They don't really talk about it. This Dave Kranzler, what a waste of time he is. He's a trader on Wall Street. Oh yeah, we want to listen to a freaking Keynesian. So we don't really care about that. Then I went. Let's see. All right, here's what the Fed interest rate means to us. Now, of course, there's really nothing to read about. Reserve raised its key rate a quarter point. Whatever we know. The rate increase will likely mean it even costlier to borrow for homes, autos, and other purchases. Not really. If it's supposed to be curing inflation, they should be going down because I won't be getting paid back in inflated dollars. So I don't even know what it is. It's just the lending, it costs more. But if I'm buying a car, a Toyota, and you feel more comfortable, the dollar's stronger, then why would you raise interest rates? You would lower them. It's not an interest rate to the public. It's an interest rate to the banks. But if you have money to earn, if you have money to save, you'll earn a bit more interest before the inflation kills it. So at best, you're there. The latest rate increase is smaller than the Fed. The slowdown reflects the fact that inflation, while still high, is easing. It's not. And some parts of the economy seem to be cooling. Well, of course, some parts will. But it's still an increase to a range of 4.5 to 4.75. And many economists, except for the professor, say that still fear that a recession remains possible. Remains possible. We're already in a recession for a year now. What the fuck are they talking about? So, what do they mean a recession is possible? Let's break that down. So, Bobby, I'm having a pita with chicken in it, right, from the deli. And then these seeds, sunflower kernels instead of potato chips. That's much healthier. Many economists say that they still fear a recession. Okay, we are in a recession. We've been in a recession for at least a year. What is a recession? It's slow economic growth. You raise costs, you're going to have a slow economic growth unless people make more money, which they're not. So I go to the grocery store and I spend $50 that used to be $40. That $10 is gone. I mean, I can't get it back. So I don't have that money to buy other goods, right? So I can't buy a baseball mitt or a football or, it takes, if I go to Vegas, I got $10 less. So it ends up, we're already in a recession because the higher costs create you're going to slow the economy. And that's just what it is. Does it matter? Not really. I mean, it hurts that. Will there be jobs? Most companies will have to lay off because because you'll have less money, so you'll spend less, so sales will drop, and companies will not make the earnings, and that's what happens. So no, it's it's a bad thing from that standpoint, but otherwise we don't really care. This maybe forces them to lower their price, and Cheerios are not $5 a box, but $4. But I'm noticing I bought a 2 liter of Coke today, Diet Coke, of course. It was $1.99. Oh, wait a minute. I thought prices are going up. See, they can't sell it. That's my whole point. The market says $1.59. They raised it to $2.99. They can't sell it. Their whole business is to move their inventory. That's what everybody's business is. Sell your products, move your inventory. You can't move your inventory if you've got it priced over market. Now it goes down to $1.99. You're still a little over market, but I can save $1. It's a little bit more affordable. No, I can go from $1.59 to $1.99. I'm not going from $1.59 to $2.99. And so that's what happens. Now, is that the inflation going down? No. Inflation's printing the money, period. I'll get into a conversation I had with the banker, and I got to get into a conversation I had with some guy begging me for money. And with it, job losses that could cause hardships for households already hurt by inflation. What prompted the rate increases? The short answer, inflation. No, not really. The short answer, they want to bankrupt all the Europe countries, China, Japan, Saudi Arabia. They want to bankrupt every country's in with the U.S. because this is not, that's what they say the inflation, but this isn't doing anything with the inflation, 5%. Over the past year, consumer inflation in the United States has clocked in at 6.5%, probably 17. A figure that reflects a 6 straight monthly slowdown, but still uncomfortably high. There's no slowdown. You can't measure prices over year to keep going up. They've got to come down because the market says, I'm not paying that price. So they're trying to get you to pay their extra costs. We're not going to do it. We stick at market. They got to lower their price, which is what they're doing. And this is why their stocks are going to get hurt. Their profits are going to get hurt. Their stock price is going to go down and the stock market crashes. The Fed's goal is to slow consumer spending. What kind of goal is that? Why do you want to slow consumer spending? That's not a Fed goal. The Fed should have nothing to do with consumer spending. The Fed should be worried about, why are you inflating? Thereby reducing demand for homes, cars, and other goods and services, eventually cooling the economy and lowering prices. So what that just said was the Fed thinks inflation is prices. We know it's not. It's you're printing too much fucking dollars. Right? There's nothing here. They think if they raise rates so high that prices, nobody will want it, and prices will drop as they kill the economy, because then nobody is going to buy goods, services, homes and cars. So what are they saying? We don't want anybody to buy them. Because if they buy them, the prices go up. So we make it too expensive. The market won't buy it. And somehow in their demented mind, they think that's cooling down inflation. It's got nothing to do with inflation. Unbelievable. Fed Chair Jerome Powell, a.k.a. known as Larry Fink, or the guy who owns BlackRock, has acknowledged in the past that aggressively raising rates would bring some pain for households, but said that doing it so is necessary to crush high inflation. Well, no, it's not. You're just hurting the people. If they want to crush inflation, interest rates should be 20%, or they could stop printing money. Maybe that will help. It's just stop printing money. Which consumers are most effective? Anyone borrowing money to make a large purchase, such as a home, car, or large appliance, will likely take a hit because interest rates will be higher because of the inflation. The new rate will also increase monthly payments and costs for any consumer who's already paying interest on credit card. It's already been a really rough year with folks with credit card debt, and it's only going to get worse, said credit analyst, The The immediacy of the increase is what's hard, that it affects not just future purchases, but current balances. They said an analyst with Moody's noted that household debt payments as a proportion of income remain relatively low. Well, who cares about as a proportion to income? Though they have risen lately. So even as borrowing rates steadily rise, many households might not feel a much heavier debt burden immediately. The hell does that mean? If you're in a fixed mortgage, you're not going to feel it at all because it won't matter. You're fixed at 3%. You're not going to feel it. The variable ones will feel it, and they'll get out of their mortgages, and they'll default like 2008. So to make that comment is just pure idiotic. How will this affect credit card rates? Well, they'll go up if there's risk and there's inflation. So we already know that. As rates have risen, 0% loans marked as buy now, pay later have become popular with consumers. Yeah, to keep it zero. But longer-term loans of more than 4 payments that these companies offer are subject to the same increase. Yeah, we know that. Chief economist at Morning Consult. Where do they find these idiots at? A survey research firm said it's polling. You need to poll people. Suggests that more Americans are spending down the savings they accumulated during the pandemic and are using credit instead. Eventually, rising rates could make it harder for those households to pay off their debts. Isn't that part of the plan? Isn't that what Powell's really doing by raising rates? You're fucking everybody with credit that pays on an interest rate. Isn't that what you're really doing? Yeah. For those who have home equity lines of credit or other variable interest debt rates will increase by roughly the same amount as the Fed hike. Okay, so they keep saying the same thing over and over and over. This makes no sense. How are savers affected? Well, because the interest rate at the bank goes up, but the inflation and money goes down. So they're not making anything. They get a little higher interest rate, but lose money on their. So they gain 5% on interest and they lose 17% on their dollar. So yeah, they're not gaining anything. Will this affect home ownership? Yeah, because they're going to default because they can't pay their mortgages. Hello? Mortgage rates don't always move in tandem with the Fed's benchmark rate. Well, they got nothing to do with the Fed's benchmark. They used to tend to track the yield of the 10-year Treasury note. No, they track inflation, morons. Sales of existing homes have declined for 11 straight months as borrowing costs, right, because nobody can afford it. So the value of the house is here, the market's here. Interest rates push this even higher. Nobody's buying a house. Who has $500,000 to pay on a $200,000 house? Nobody. That's why the housing market's crashing, because even if you could afford the $300,000 house, you've got the higher mortgage rates, which basically add another $50 a month to your mortgage. So you're basically, nobody's going to buy a house now until gold goes up. What if I want to buy a car? Geez, same stupid question. Interest rates are up. How have the rate hikes influenced crypto? Oh, God, there's actually an answer. Cryptos like Bitcoin have dropped in value since the Fed began raising rates. So have many previously high-valued tech stocks. Higher rates mean that safe assets like treasuries become more attractive, not with the inflation it doesn't, to investors because their yields have increased. But the value of the dollars have gone down 17%. Who writes this trash? That makes risky assets like technology stocks and cryptos less attractive. Cryptos are not influenced by interest rates. They are not have anything to do with interest. They're not money. It's like saying, what is it, the Rolex? Does it affect my $80,000 Rolex? No, it's still 80. It doesn't. It's got nothing to do with interest rates. Oh, see, Here's the problem. They say this bullshit. People read it. People think it. And then I got to undo everything that these people say because people read this and believe it. And that's the problem, right? They believe it. And then they go, this is what I read. Yeah, cryptos are going down because of interest rates, which has nothing to do with it. Sorry. What about my job? You're going to lose your job because inflation raises costs lower earnings, lower sales, and companies are going out of business because it's too expensive to be in business because their model's screwed up. So as I figure, should I go into business selling these sunflower kernels? I paid $4 for these. All right, I can make them for $1.50. Okay. Now I'll go into business. But now if my cost went up to $5 and I can sell them for $4, am I in business? No, I got to get out of business. There goes the jobs. Well, student loans, who cares? Is there a chance the rate hikes will be reversed? No, because they're trying to blow it up. So that's what's happening with these Fed rate hikes in English. So, professor goes to the bank. I got to put some money in. Because basically, I don't keep a lot in there. It's all in my safe. So when it gets low, I just paid rent and a credit card. I take another grand, put it back in because the risk of the bank closing, all right, I got to put a little bit in there. So I started talking to a manager and explaining Austrian economics to her. And then the investment guy comes over as we're talking, and I'm talking to the manager about gold. And the investor guy comes over, some Keynesian guy, and I light him up. Bobby, you'd be proud of this. I just light him up. I'm like, he tries to get at me with some fancy, like a formula. I go, I've never heard of the formula. I might have it in my notes somewhere, but it's meaningless to me. I don't care. I catch the basics, right? Visible hand, gold, low taxes, low solid laws, low government interference. That's what I care about. I don't care. I care about Say's law, but he said some formula, and I'm looking at him. I don't know what you're talking about. He says, you got a master's in economics? You don't know? I go, because you're talking Keynesian. I don't listen to Keynesians. You're a communist and you like government run. I'm not. I like a free market, and I'm an Austrian, so I don't pay attention to Keynesians. And I love that. And he was caught. He knew he was caught. So I'm explaining the whole thing to him, that the dollar's going to zero and that gold's going up because of the BRICS countries. And I don't know if he's serious or fucking with me or what. He seemed to agree with me in a way that I believed he was agreeing, but in my mind, I'm like, I'm not sure. Because with my personality, I don't trust anybody. So I'm explaining the market. I'm explaining they're trying to sell me like, oh, you can get 5% in a REIT, real estate investment trust. And I go, I've seen that movie, Margin Call. And what happens when the people can't pay their mortgages? I'm not going to get 5%, am I? Or 8% or whatever. I did all I could not to say, sounds like a Madoff scam. Because that was in my mind. Because that's what a Madoff scam is. Oh, we're going to get 10%. Oh, and how am I going to get that? Oh, because it's going to be with mortgages. Oh, yeah, they won't default, will they? I've seen this story before, and you don't know who you're fucking with. I'm not buying a word of it. I said, I really have my money in gold and silver. I can't lose. And you're running a scam. So I don't want anything to do with it. Well, what if gold and silver doesn't go up? I go, well, first of all, COMEX has exploded. It's fantasy numbers. And the guy, like, was, you could see, he's like clueless, right? And these are the bankers, right? They're all Keynesians. So he doesn't get that COMEX is not real. And I said, thanks to the BRICS countries and Russia and China coming out with gold exchanges, gold's going to go through the roof. And do you understand me? I'm not asking his opinion. I'm telling him the truth of what's happening. This is what's happening. So, there you go. I don't care if you know it or not. I don't care if you believe me or not. This is what's happening. So I'm saying that to the guy. And not really, I'm not trying to have a conversation. He came over to me. I didn't go to him. So I'm talking to the manager. She's from wherever, Dubai or somewhere. She's trying to explain I can buy gold cheaper in this country than in the U.S. And I said, no, you can't. It all gets back to U.S. dollars. That's how gold's priced in the derivative dollar. It'll be 2,000 U.S. in any country. And she's trying to explain it's cheaper. Then she's trying to get into, was the gold coin 24 karat or not? I go, it's all, the ounce of a gold coin is what the ounce is. So the price of $2,000, if I have a U.S. coin or maple leaf and I have a 1 ounce coin, it's 1 ounce. It's 24 karat. Like, I don't even care. It's an ounce. It's 2,000. That's what I'm going to get for it. Not if it's 24 karat or 18. Who has 18 karat gold coins? So again, they have no idea what they're saying. I'm just killing them. So I'm there about an hour. That's why I'm late from here. But I wanted to get my deposit in, before the show and then after, because I usually go swimming. And I got hamburgers I'm cooking. Well, I will cook. So that's where I'm at with this. So the investor guy comes over trying to sell me stuff. I says, I don't want anything to do with U.S. dollars. And I got a stack of my hundreds. I go, these are worth nothing. These are worthless. Then she says, well, when gold goes up, are you going to be able to sell them? I go, when gold goes up and people realize they've been scammed and that the dollar is worthless, there'll be a line 5 times around the store to buy it. It's funny how Nick asked the same question. And I think Bobby too. It's like, why do people worry when the price goes up, they can't sell it? By definition, the only way prices go up is demand. That's why this is not going up. This is going down. So the only way it goes up is demand. So this doesn't go to $100 unless people want it, right? So this has to go up based on demand. So if demand's forcing the price of the gold up, of course, obviously there's people buying it because there's demand for it. And I said, once 350 million people open their eyes and realize they're getting screwed by the dollar, the only alternative is gold, or maybe you buy the Russian, the ruble, yuan currency backed by gold, but they'll probably be buying the actual physical, and good luck there. So that was what I was like trying to teach her. I love when the investment guy comes over. Like, he's got this attitude like, oh, I'll show him I'm an investment guy. And I'm like, you're fucking with the wrong guy, fella. So you don't fuck with the Teaser King, especially in INFJ. My personality is so strong when I know something. I don't know it, it's not as strong, but I was basically just telling him, this is what it is. This is going to zero. Gold's going through the roof. Why would I want to be in anything else? I don't want to be in stocks. I don't want to be in bonds. I don't want to be in currency. I don't want to be in the bank. And I'm telling him, if I got 100 grand in here, I'm never getting it out. And I know that. What's he going to tell me, right? So I was nailing him pretty good. And then he comes up with some Keynesian equation, and I'm like, what are you talking about? because I was so far over his head, he starts trying to. This is what a liberal does to you. They try to bring up stuff that it's obscure. So you really like, what is he talking about? And that's what they bring up, and so you just eat that up. But that's basically what it is. And so I was hitting him pretty good. Anyway, at the end, he had to go to a meeting. The manager had to go. I made my deposit, and off I went. So basically, the moral of the story is these bankers are Keynesians. They just want they're just trying to sell you the money. They don't care about you. They care about themselves, trying to make a sale. Oh, put your 2,000 in here. Go sell your gold and put it in here. And I'm like, fuck you. You got to be out of your mind. I got to buy more gold. I don't have enough. So then I go to the grocery store to get my turkey and my pita bread and my seeds. And this guy comes to me in the parking lot. He says, oh, excuse me, sir. No, I don't have any money. Can you help me out? And I'm sitting there going, you don't have any money, and you're standing in a grocery store parking lot. How did you get here? And why don't you go in and nibble on grapes and apples and just walk out? I mean, like, so I don't believe he's real, but I'm a good guy, so I help him out. Then I'll tell you what, why don't you come in with me? We'll buy you something. So I do my shopping. He gets like a sandwich. And then what pisses me off, he gets a thing of grapes. So my shopping's $25. His is $11. So here's how my mind works. It's like, look, you're standing there, you're begging for money. I say, I'll buy you something like a sandwich, and then he's buying grapes, but he buys $5 worth of grapes. I'm like, dude, I'm not approving that. I'll get you a sandwich as opposed to giving you $1, but don't take advantage. See, that's how my mind works. Oh, now you're taking advantage. You just cost me $11. I was only going to give you 1 or 2. You're begging for money so you can eat. So get the sandwich, but okay, buy a little bit of grapes. Buy a little thing, 10 grapes. That's fine, but don't buy a whole bag of $5. It's like $2.80 a pound, and you're buying 2 pounds of grapes. You can go pay for that on your own then, dude. Don't, I'm trying to be nice and you're taking advantage. See, I hate that. Because I don't trust him that he's real. Would a guy beg for food at a grocery store? So I'm getting in the car, driving to a grocery store so I can beg people to get out of their cars for money. I don't get that in the Ukraine and Russia. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I gave it to him, and he thanked me, and I said, whatever. My girlfriend's in the Ukraine. I don't give a fuck about you. I helped you, but you took advantage. Fine. Go choke on your grapes, fella. I thought he was way out of line. Like I said, if he grabbed a little bit of grapes, 10 or 15 grapes, I'd rather have him buy these. At least they were only $4, but to buy the sandwich was $5. Okay, fine. But if you want to get grapes, you just get a little for lunch. You got your own things. Go get a job at McDonald's so you can afford food. I don't need to be scammed by some guy who needs money. I was like, well, I could have given him $1. That would have been it. I mean, I had $3 because I just went to the bank and I put everything in the bank. Anyway, so it's a pain in the ass with these guys begging and then taking advantage, man. I hope I never get to that. I hope you never get to that. But okay, you grab the sandwich. What are you doing, man? You got to just get cheap stuff that don't take advantage. So if I see him again, he's not getting anything. You go eat your grapes, fella. So that was my morning between dealing with these idiots at the bank. All I wanted to do was make a deposit. We started talking. I didn't want to, the investment guy didn't need to come by. I didn't ask for him. He's trying to scam me. I felt like Madoff. And that's what you should have done with Madoff. Tell him to go shove it up his ass. I'm smarter than you. Don't come at me getting me to buy real estate stuff. And that's it. So that's where I went. And so I made the deposit. I don't know how. We'll see. So that's what the Federal Reserve is up to. My guy didn't do much on 108 because he had the other guy. I hate when they bring in these Wall Street investor type of guys. It's like, dude, we don't want to hear. So let's see what else is going on in the world. All right. So if we go into gold price today, it was down because, again, it's fixed. So let's explain gold to you. Gold's down $49 to $18.65. And it happens at 10 o'clock. Surprise, surprise. Look at it starts happening. Starts going down a little after 9 to 10. Now, why is it down? Because it's fixed, because this isn't real. Howard, what does that mean? What do you mean fixed? How can it be fixed? Oh, and silver's down to 22. Who's selling? Nobody's selling. So what's happening in the reality, because these are done by fund managers, like pension funds and stock funds and things like that, when the Fed raises interest rates, it strengthens the dollar because you think, the inflation, what causes the dollar to lose its value is inflation. You print more, they're worth less. Somehow they got in their mind, if I raise interest rates, I don't print as much and I stop the inflation. No, it's still inflating. Raising the rates to 5% didn't do anything about inflation. So these traders, what they do, and this is why it's down, the traders go ahead and they'll buy dollars and sell gold. It's just triggered. It's a formula. Interest rates go up means the dollar's stronger, so I'm going to buy dollars. And then for some reason, they think if the dollar's stronger, gold goes down. Well, inflation's not over, so the dollar's not stronger. But this is all being done mechanically by these algorithms, right? So it's not really anybody selling it because this isn't real free market. That's the problem with gold, and we all know that. That's why we can't wait for the physical market from Russia and China and the BRICS countries to have their dollar backed by gold. You won't see this anymore. So we're just patiently waiting for that to happen. So this is bullshit, but it keeps people away from buying gold and silver because they'll go, oh, geez, look, gold's down. That's why you don't look at COMEX, because it's not real. So what are they doing? These portfolio managers are selling gold because the dollar went up, because the interest rate went up. They're doing it on purpose because they're idiots. And they're going to lose trillions of dollars because they're shorting the gold without gold. So how can physical gold go down when nobody sells it? This is the problem. They're doing the derivatives. So because it goes down, it doesn't matter. It's not real. So the price drops because the portfolio managers think, because they're idiots, they think, well, gold's going up or dollars are going up, so gold's got to go down. There's no correlation to it. the demand for gold didn't go down. It's still high. People are still buying it. The demand for dollars, do they think went up because the interest rates went up? Who's demanding the dollars? I just saw China sell a bunch. Uh, who wants dollars? First of all, half the countries are sanctioned and don't want it. There's no more petrodollar. What are they? Who's buying dollars? And again, it's the portfolio managers are blindly. That's what my guy says. The silos. So they're blindly. Oh, the rate went up, so I'm going to buy gold and sell. I'm going to buy dollars and sell gold without a demand, without the market. So what they're doing is incredibly stupid. So they're saying, well, you know what? I'm gonna buy this and sell this, and but if I go to the market and buy it, I pay $50. There's demand. This is like nobody's buying it and nobody's selling it, and you're tweaking the price. Well, now this is $35. Nobody bought it, nobody sold it. What are you talking about? And that's the problem with gold, that it's being manipulated because these guys aren't even they're not buying. I mean, nobody sold an ounce of gold. If anything, people are buying gold hand over fist. Russia, China, India, South America, South Africa, Iran. Who's selling gold? There's nobody selling gold, right? A few people go to the store. They need money for their stuff, so they are selling their gold. That's what, 20 people selling 5 ounces of gold. That's not going to change it. So this is the problem. It's not real. It's not market driven. It's not how many ounces were sold, how many ounces were bought. You have no idea. Nobody sold it. There wasn't enough gold to knock it down $50. I guarantee you that. This is the problem. This is what's pissing off the Russians and the Chinese. They have the gold. Now, the guy on the guest on our guy show says, well, it's really good if China keeps the price of gold down so they can buy more. No, they got 40,000 tons. At this point, they want gold going up because they need the money. So he doesn't tell the whole story. That's what I hate about his guest. He's a hedge fund guy from Wall Street. What do we don't want to hear him. He doesn't understand economics. He doesn't understand what your show's about. Why do I want to listen to this guy and waste my time? And the guy's, oh, this is great. And this is, and I go, and my comments are, this is ridiculous. Why do you have these idiots on? We just want to hear the economist. We don't really want to hear the hedge fund guy from Wall Street tell us about gold. So he doesn't add any value to the show. It keeps our guy from helping us by saying, so when is this going to happen? Which is what we're waiting for, but nobody seems to give the answer. When is gold going to go to 40,000 an ounce? What's going on with Russia and their market? What's going on with COMEX being exploded? So COMEX is gone, but yet it's still there. COMEX lowered the price of gold. What's going on? And the same thing with having gold where you're trying to influence, you're trying to dollar cost average. Oh, I'll buy it at 1,800, and when it hits 1,900, I won't buy it. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm telling the guy at the bank, you just want to own the ounces. You don't care if it's that or not. But, it's funny how they don't understand why gold doesn't go up or when, and they just know gold doesn't move. So get 5% in an annuity. Oh, it's a fixed annuity. You'll get 5%. I'm going, but the dollar is going to go down in value. Inflation's 17%. It's not 6 or 7 or whatever the hell they're saying. Again, you're believing you can believe what you want, but it's not accurate because they don't include all the prices, right? They're not including food, energy, or gas, or rent, or housing. So they come up with 6% on items that only go up 6%. They don't look at everything. So anyway, so that's really what's going on. So when you see gold go down like this, it's just bullshit. That's why you can't really watch COMEX. So even when it goes up, it's bullshit. When it goes down, it's bullshit. but they're all going to get caught because when it does finally go physical, COMEX will be gone, and all these guys are going to lose trillions of dollars because they're shorting the market, saying that we think the market's going to go down, and it won't because the demand is so strong for gold and silver. The market won't go down; it'll go up. That's what we're waiting for. We think it'll happen soon. Yeah, it's been 50 years, Howard. Why would it happen now? Because of the BRICS countries, because of this new gold back gold exchange for physical that China and Russia are doing. The dollar's not on the euro, is not on the petrodollar anymore. That's gone. And all these currencies will be backed by gold. You know, will that happen? Hell yes, it'll happen. Of course it'll happen. What are you talking about? You are sanctioning Russia and probably China. They have no choice. They're going to come out with their own currency, but they know it won't do anything unless they back it by gold. And they've got all this gold. So, of course, they're going to do it. So, I don't know. You can't really pinpoint a date because there's blockers out there that are not allowing the free market. I was watching something yesterday, and the guy says there's never been a free market on gold for physical gold. It's always been manipulated since the 70s by JP Morgan and COMEX. And it's right, but now it's about to blow up with all the shit happening. And that's what we've been waiting for. Anyway, that was my morning at the bank, educating them. And I'm warning them I am a very unique personality. So don't come at me like, don't think I'm stupid. And I'm going to be aggressive because when I'm right, when I know 2 and 2 is 4, then I know it. All right. So let's go to football. Any topic you guys want to talk about? They like how they give you cookies. Next thing you know, you're getting these emails for this bullshit. And you're like, I didn't. So I unsubscribed to it. But it's because you let them send cookies. Anyway. Oh, here's another email I got from the representative in Michigan for whatever. So she's been appointed to serve on the Select Committee on the Strategic Competition between the United States and the Chinese Communist Party. What does this girl have? No fucking clue about the Chinese Communist Party. What is your biggest area of concern that you hope is addressed by the Select Committee? And then a list a bunch, and then you check what you think that they should be doing. Supply chains and economic security, theft of American personal data and intellectual property, defense of Taiwan, protecting democracy at home, which we don't have, weaponizing of TikTok, I don't even know what that is, China's military threat, there is none, human rights and forced labor, who cares, and others. So I put theft of American personal data and intellectual property is what the big concern should be for her to go over, but she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing anyway. What's she gonna do? For smart, we'd send Ric Flair over, and then we would fix everything. All right, let's get to football. And there's not much because it's still a week away. So we look. Philly 1.5, 50.5, and I went through all the different casinos on here, and they're all everything's Philly 1.5. There's a 2.5 of whatever SI is, and the total is 50.5. There's a 50 and 50.5. So we're not really going to see anything till next week that would kind of show the movement. But at this point, I mean, I like the over, and then it's probably going to be KC as the dog. And if we see a KC go favorite, we'll immediately bet Philly. I like Philly as the dog more than I like KC as the dog, but we will see. So there's not much different. Philly 10-1 is the road favorite. We know Mahomes is 45-12, touchdown to interception. And we know Hurts is 24-6 touchdowns, missing 3 games, I think. Still banged up shoulder a little bit. We'll see if that comes into play. Mahomes with the Ric Flair fake sprained ankle. We don't believe he's injured at all. Just like wrestling, where they go, oh, no, oh, look, that guy broke his neck, and then he runs out of the ambulance back into the ring and does his thing. So it's just so ridiculous that how football is now. Brady being retired, who knows? I'll believe it when they play next year and he's not playing. Then I'll believe it. Rodgers, I would think, would go to Oakland with Devontae Adams. He's got Jacobs, so he's got a good running back. The problem is he doesn't have a defense. What you do with it? Does he want to win, or does he just want to play? In my mind, Brady should go to Baltimore, Pittsburgh, or Tennessee. He has a good running game and a strong defense, and he could definitely win with Baltimore, as bad as their head coach is, or Pittsburgh. I think he would do very well at Pittsburgh. Good receivers and a really strong defense. Or Tennessee with Henry. That's exactly what they need is a quarterback. So those 3 teams I could see him going to very easily. Pick him up for a year or 2. God knows you don't have a quarterback. Kenny Pickett, I'm sorry, is not anywhere near Tom Brady's class. So we will see. So we had to wait 1 week. I hate this week because it's like, here you got football every week, and then here comes. And why do they need to delay the Super Bowl a week? Now, what I fear is after the Super Bowl, so that'll be next Sunday, is going to be what happens with gold and the economy on Monday. Because I believe like they waited for the Russian war to start the day after the Chinese Olympics, they're waiting for the Super Bowl, and then the shit's going to hit the fan. So have to be careful with that. But we'll see. And then we'll get ready for the draft, I guess. I mean, I guess you just go on with business as usual and hope the whole shit didn't hit the fan. We'll see. I talked to the bank about my retirement, and they said, no, you should get it. It's not like unemployment where you apply for it and it's a yay or nay. She said, Social Security you get, I mean, you're already approved for it. It's in the system. It's just you're turning it on. So I should get a check Wednesday. My Ukrainian girlfriend's going to Poland to visit her son. He's safe because he's 14. The other son's in the 20s, can't leave the country. So she's going to see him. And just a pain in the neck. She's got to take a 21-hour train ride and then get to Poland and then take a bus to the son's city. And I don't know if she's in a hotel or renting an apartment or whatever she does. And, so she asked for money, and I'm like, well, here, what am I going to give you? We'll see. I said, just wait for gold to go up. And yeah, she's the one with the gold. So, but she's smart enough to not spend it now. So just wait till it goes up. And anyway, That's on her docket. I don't know what's going on with this stupid war. This is the thing. Americans, we're focusing on the Super Bowl and people in the Ukraine are getting bombed. It's kind of a realization, but people like burying their head. Like when I talk about gold or the currency going to zero, nobody wants to hear it. They don't want to hear the bad news. And with my personality, you're getting the bad news. What else can we talk about? Austrian economics. So again, at the bank, I'm trying to teach this Keynesian banker, the money's worthless. I don't know if he believes me or not. He's just kind of shaking his head. And I'm like, oh, is he seriously listening or is he just trying to appease me? Either way, I don't want anything to do with the guy. I didn't invite him. I didn't like he came over. And I was tearing him to shreds because that's what I was going to do with the guy. Because I kept trying, let's go talk to our investment guy. There's nothing he's going to tell me. It's like Lord of the Rings with Gollum. There's nothing you can tell me I can believe and trust. There's just nothing this guy's going to talk me into buying a real estate investment trust or an annuity that I can get 7 or 8% on. And I'm like, oh, we're doing a Madoff here. You got me 8% on an annuity. Yeah. Oh, to be for 5 years, we'll get 8%. Why would I want that? Inflation's 17. Oh, inflation's coming down. No, it isn't. Prices are going year over year, but they're not measuring it right. I had him nailed 52 ways to China. Whatever he said, I was going to nail him. He had nothing to tell me. And then he went off based on these two formulas that I don't know what they are. I know what Say's law is, but I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You got a master's in economics. You don't know this. I go, it's not Austrian. It's Keynesian. I don't know Keynesian, nor do I want to know Keynesian. I just know it's Keynesian's communist and government run, and Austrian's free market. And I know free market, and you're not telling me free market. I don't know what you're telling me. I don't know what it has to do with anything, nor do I care. That's like telling me when I pick the Super Bowl, or let's say Cincinnati, Buffalo, and you're saying, well, the linemen are out for Buffalo. I don't care. I know the linemen are out. It doesn't matter. It's not me. It's not material. And even last week, it wasn't material that the linemen for Cincinnati were out to me making the pick because I'm betting on Joe Burrow. So I'm over here and you're over here and you're trying to talk to me about stuff over here and I'm over here. That's why I pick well, is because I don't get influenced by that. And that's why I would never go into an annuity at 8 or 9% where they think it's good. I go, but the money's still inflated. If I give you $10,000, it's still going to be worthless. After the 3 years, what good is 8% when the money that 10 grand, I'll have $1,000 worth of value, if that. I mean, because you're losing money on the principal, which they don't understand. Anyway, let's see. So football should be a good game. I'll come up with a score soon. No hurry. We got a week. Now here's where I'm psychic. I said to myself, I said to myself about, I like to watch Lord of the Rings. I don't know why. I've seen it 1,000 times, but it was like, this is something I wanted to see again. And all of a sudden on Netflix, there's Lord of the Rings on the first. I was like, oh my God. Weird how I do that, right? Boy, I'd like to see this movie in The Dirty Dozen or Guns and Arrows. And all of a sudden it's on Netflix. It's never been on before or a long time. So I'm watching it, and it's just weird how that comes into play. But, after so many times, you just kind of get bored. So I do other things while watching it, but it was nice to see it. But it was like, you got it's 9 hours of movies. So I watched 2 days ago, I watched 2 of them, and then I watched the third one yesterday. But, today I'll look for economic stuff. I'll look for gold. But it's all the same. Oh, you're going to be a millionaire if you buy gold, and you're going to do. But nobody wants to tell you is what's holding it up and when does it kick in, except for my one British guy. who keeps saying that. And then he says, how much gold do you own? Meaning it's going to go up, but he doesn't give you that. And then they don't know is what the real value is going to be. Nobody can say, and they don't want to be wrong. So I'm ballsy and say, well, 50,000, and that's just a guess, and it could be 100, but I'm pretty much figuring it's been suppressed that it would be more. But I know it's insurance, and I know this is going to zero because our friends are printing it to death and nobody wants it. So with that said, that's what I'm at. But they don't, nobody can get, it's weird. Nobody can give you a date. How do they not know when it's about the shit's going to hit the fan? Nobody knows. So what's the trigger, Anyway, so we just be patient with it. So it'll be nice to start getting some my retirement money in. And now when I worked at Hiram Walker with the liquor. And when I turned, 59, I was supposed to get $200 a month or a lump sum. So I chose the lump sum because what's $200 a month, which was like $30,000. So I took the lump sum, put it in the stocks, made money on the gold stocks, and I'm using that to buy the gold. So pretty clever of me. I do that a lot. So that's what's happening. What else can we talk about? It's hard because there's only so much place I want to go in my economics. We get to the money, types of money, what the bank is, reserves, 3 types of inflation. So I think we're still in the A type where the money supply increases faster than the prices. The prices, for some reason, aren't going up. They're going up a little, but the way they're valuing it year over year, look, inflation's coming down. Well, of course it's coming down. It can't go up anymore. If something went from $1 to $2 and now it went from $2, it's not going to go to $4. It's going to go to $1.80 because that's what the market says. So they're all missing the market. Nobody really gets that. And that's the funny part. And then I bring up gold being real money and the Roman Empire. The guy's starting to argue with me on the Roman Empire. I go, look, they inflated their dollars. They took all the gold out of their dollars. So therefore, the Roman Empire, that's why they went, because they inflated their money. And that's what we're doing. Well, I don't think it was that. I think it was something else. I'm like, dude, look, there is no argument you can make with me that I can trust. It's like I'm talking to Gollum. There's nothing you're going to tell me that I don't already know, that I'm going to believe you on the Roman Empire not blowing up because of inflation. I mean, that wasn't all of it, but it was probably 90% of it. Once you fuck your money up, you got to pay your soldiers in money. And if you don't have money to pay them, they're not going to fight for you. They're not risking their life for nothing. So that's what happens. That's why all these countries go out once they inflate. What are we doing? We're inflating. Off we go. So basically, I'm trying to find something. So raising interest rates doesn't necessarily lower inflation, because the idea is you put money back in the bank, but who's putting money in the bank now? That's the problem. The worst investment for a bank is real estate. I wonder if they know that. Why? Because it's long-term. Savings accounts are short-term. Real estate's very risky, fluctuating interest rates and trade cycles. So we need to tell that to BlackRock that their real estate's really there. So BlackRock Fink is in bed with Powell. JP Morgan runs the government because he puts everybody in. So I told the guy there'll never be a digital currency, and he's like, good. And I'm going, because JP Morgan won't allow it because they run the government and they want to keep the monopoly on printing. And that, I think, got through to the guy. I think he understood that. Like, He's like, good. Like he was like, good. I don't want digital dollars. Nobody wants it. And again, you're not going to have something if nobody wants it. You can't just invent it. That's why the dollars are there. But it's funny, the lady at the bank's the bank manager, oh, you can, if you keep your money in, you don't have to come in, you can just transfer it. And I'm going, no, that's okay. I'd rather keep my money safe at home. And then, and then she's trying to say, is your gold and silver safe? They're trying to use the safe thing. I go, yeah, you'll never find where my stuff is in the house. How many people are going to look at my freezer for my gold? So, you're not arguing, but you're saying, what you say is a reason, but how safe is it in the bank? Look at China. They shut their banks down. People can't get their money out of the bank. How safe is it? We're run by China. We're right behind them. I says, I don't trust the government. I don't trust that they're not going to shut the banks down. And look at Bank of America. A guy had $33,000 check and he puts it in, deposits it, and it's gone. Checks his balance the next day. He's got zero in there. Calls him up. We can't do anything. So it's not really good. So this little thing this guy told me at the bank, I have no idea what it is. It's probably not Austrian, and the question is he's throwing it out there, but how meaningful is it? I can tell you Say's law, supply equals demand. So you demand something, and that's what you make. I want a Coke, you have it. And then the market dictates the price. So that would have been an appropriate topic in the conversation, but he comes up with time of possessions. So basically the conversation I'm talking about, I like Burrow and Chase, we're betting Cincinnati, and he's coming up with time of possession. And I'm going, I don't care about time of possession. That's not how I evaluate if I'm going to bet the game. I don't care about time of possession because of kickoff returns and the turnovers. I get a pick six. How much time went off the clock? None, but I'm winning. So it's a meaningless stat to me. So we came up with these two really weird formulas. I'm like, I don't care. It's like, what does that have to do with what we're talking about? And this obscure formula that I don't know, but I don't care because it's not important enough to know. And if it is, what is it? Like he couldn't explain it. So that's the problem with dealing with morons like this. Anyway, what do we got? Interest is simply the cost of money. The higher it is, of course, you're going to have a recession because it's high. And again, you're always trying to get to the real rate of interest. So if the interest rate's 8% and inflation 6%, you're really only getting 2%. What we have now is the interest rate at 5%, inflation rate at 17%. You got a negative 12%. So you're fucked. So that's what you have. Let's see. Anyway, we need the gold standard. We won't go back to it. Well, we don't have a choice. We have to. Nobody wants the dollar. And that was my argument to the guy, too. I said 33 countries are off the dollar, and it's growing. It's the reserve currency. It was the reserve currency. It's not anymore. And the fact there's a lot of dollars, nobody wants it because they're afraid of sanctions. So you got to take all that. It's like betting a football game, right? You're betting the game before the game. Then the game happens. You can't bet after the game, right? I can't bet KC -2 against Cincinnati after the game. I got to make the bet before, which was Cincinnati and a teaser plus, I think it was 7.5. So you've got to do this beforehand. So as the dollar's crashing, you got to recognize what to do before the game starts. Once the game starts, you can't. Once gold starts going up, you can't. It's hard to jump into it because there won't be supply. So the question would be, can J.P. Morgan hold the value of gold down? They've been holding the COMEX, But at what point can you keep holding it down? Like they just are lowering it because of the interest rates going up and the dollar going up, so they're going to lower gold. Okay, but really, how long are they able to do that? Because nobody's really selling the gold. So at what point can they try to? This is the question. At what point can they try to do that and they won't be able to? And it's close because people want the gold, right? So people are saying, "Give me my gold, give me my gold," and there isn't any gold there to get. So therefore, without gold to get, you can't lower it because you can't. Okay, I'll bet 50 grand on Kansas City. I don't really have the money, but I'm going to make the bet. Oh, you want me to pay you for the bet? Oh, well, I don't really have any money, so I just made the bet without the money, which is exactly what's happening with gold, right? So they shorted it, but they don't have any gold. So if I ask you for the gold, what are you going to say? I don't have it. Oh, okay. And that's COMEX basically, right? So you're betting 50 grand on a football game, but you don't have the money. They're shorting gold without having the gold. How that gets done, where's the guy on the other side saying, give me the gold? And how are they getting away with this Madoff stuff? I mean, it really blows my mind, but that's because JP Morgan owns the politicians. So anybody that would prosecute him is getting paid by Morgan, and therefore they won't, which is criminal enough. What the hell kind of government do we have that doesn't throw the criminals behind bars is really the problem, right? We want sound government and sound laws. So when somebody breaks the law, we need them to go to jail or get penalized or punished for breaking the law. We don't have it. It's insane. So if you're ever in an argument with somebody about anything and they throw up this curveball on you, what about this formula? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's really meaningless to the conversation because I'm not a Keynesian. I basically told them I'm not a Keynesian. I don't believe in communism and I don't believe in government running the economy. I believe in the individual running the economy. You want to believe in the government, go right ahead. It doesn't work. As you can see, the whole fucking world's blowing up because of you Keynesian idiots who want to print money and cheat and steal and, suppress the gold price like everybody's an idiot. Nobody knows what you're doing. So that shut them up pretty good. Anyway, really, I just went in to make a deposit. It was crazy. What do you think about this guy at the grocery store begging for money? I said, "Well, come in with me. I'll buy you something." And he buys a sandwich and he buys $5 worth of grapes. What do you guys think of that? I'm just curious. Like most people would have just said, "Leave me alone." Some people would have said, "Here's a buck." I had $2 on me because I just went to the bank and I don't keep any cash on me because I use my debit card. So there's no point in it. The only time I get it is when I go play poker. I'll take $300 from my safe downtown and I'll play poker with the 300. Otherwise, there's no reason. If I go buy a pop or a steak, I'm using the debit card. So I was being nice, but I felt like you take advantage. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not it. But I'd like to hear your. I guess what would you guys have done? You guys would have probably given him a few dollars, maybe. What do you do with the guys in Vegas who are sitting there begging for money between the Bellagio and Caesars? Do you sit there and here's $10, or do you tell them to fuck off, go get a job at McDonald's? I don't know. Normally, I tell them to go get a job at McDonald's. Look, if you spent the time working instead of begging for money, you wouldn't have to beg for money. So that's what it is. Anyway, it's hard. There's not a lot of football to analyze, unfortunately. Poker, we can talk poker. I was watching Vegas yesterday, and they had this poker tournament on, and this lady was cheating. There was a guy in the production booth. He could see the hole cards, and he hit the red button if she should fold, I think, or either somebody was bluffing or they had a good hand. I don't remember what it was, and they were signaling. And that's always the problem when you show your hole cards and you have people in the production booth as if that nobody's watching them and monitoring that they're cheating. And that's the problem. That's what that lady did. She cheated at Big Pot, where she had nothing, but he had, he had 7-8, she had Jack 9, and she calls all in bet with Jack 9 with nothing. I mean, nobody can do that. Maybe if she had a pair of kings, she could call. But how do you call with Jack High? Obviously, she's cheating. And that's what you worry about with it being live and on camera and people looking at your hole cards. That's my point. I would never do that. But I can start playing some more poker now that football's over, because it was really hard when I went down New Year's Eve. I'm watching the Michigan game. I played during the break, and then when the Ohio State came on, Georgia, I was watching the game. So it's hard now that football's over. I might go, today's Friday, maybe tomorrow, go down, or Sunday, play some poker, see what that's about. Well, Sunday, there's no football. So maybe Saturday or Sunday, and then we'll see what happens. Try to make my third income with poker. Although it's getting harder because they're changing the way they play. There's a lot of, I play 1-2, and I want to play 1-2 because I want to see a lot of flops. And when these people, they're raising it up to $10. Now, not that I can't afford $10. It's not the point. I want to see the flop. I might have marginal cards like, I don't know. I might have Queen 10 offsuit, where maybe I want to see a $2 flop, but I don't want to see a $10 flop. Or if I'm excuse me, let's say I'm the big blind. So I'm already in for $2. So yeah, for $2, I'll see the flop anyway. I've already put it in. You make it $10. And I have 5-9 offsuit. Do I want to see the flop? No, I'm not going to see it for 10, even though I got 2 in there, because the odds of me hitting anything that's good is 0, because unless it comes 2 5s or 2 9s, I got 5 9s. So if a 5 hits, I got a pair of 5s. Whippy. And if I get the 9 hits, I got 9 with the 5 kicker. There's no way I can do anything. If 6, 7, 8 hits, I'm still screwed. So I don't really want to see a flop. But if it's $2 that a 5-9 hits, then I'm okay. But I don't want to put in any more money, because I figure the odds are very slim to help my hand with it. Maybe it forces me out of maybe a pair of 3s, and the guy makes it $15. Do I really want to see it? I play a lot where it depends how many people are in. So if I have a pair of 3s and there's 4 people in the pot, I will see a $10. Maybe I can hit my set. If it's heads up, I don't want anything to do with it, because I'm not going to win. I want to get 4 times for my money, right? So it's $10, but I got 3 other players. Then so I put in 10, 30 goes in. Now I'm getting 4-1 odds. Now I hit the 3. But if it's just 1, you don't get the odds with it. So it makes it very difficult. Questions, comments, let me know about anything. Football, economics, gold, poker. It's hard with football. There's only the one game, and it's next week. So it's, we've gotten into it, but there's not much to look at. Mahomes, I'm sure he's practicing his Ric Flair. I'm fine. That's a lot with poker. You want to get, when you got aces, you want 1 guy. When you got a pair of 3s, you want 4 guys in, because when you hit the 3, and you can bet $10 and you get all these callers. Now you're getting 4-1 every time you put money in. But when you got aces, you don't want 4-1. You don't want anybody. You want 1 guy in, and then you'll take him. That's what you want. Anyway, so I might go down this weekend. I'll probably just watch YouTube, because I don't know there's no football on. Is anybody going to really watch flag football? Are you kidding me? This is what the NFL has gotten to, is flag football and their Pro Bowl. Really? Anybody want to watch it? We actually play with tackle when we play the real game. What is that shit? I don't know. So let's see. I'll go back to YouTube, watch some more. Let's see the videos on today. See, now I get a lot of these. Early buyers will make, I mean, I must see that 20 times. That's what they're talking about, of course, is gold and silver. And again, but he can't tell you when. And, that's the same thing I tell you. Here we go. Last chance to buy gold and silver. Oh, really? So this guy says this a lot. Price is about to happen. Like it's about to go up. And he'll say it and it doesn't go up. And he'll say it and it doesn't go up. And, again, that's what I say, but you've got to know the reason for it to go up. Let's see. See here, now this is like the U.S. debt. This is the whole reason I'm saying a lot of the stuff, because you blew it up. It's like the Planet of the Apes when they blew up their own planet. You see the Statue of Liberty. That's exactly what's happening here. You've blown this up. The only out is gold and silver, but they're trying to like maintain, like, oh well, if we just don't say anything, we won't say there's a recession, and there is. After the sale of 446 billion, China and Japan may continue the massive sale of bonds. Well, that's exactly what's happening. Only 100 billion US bonds left in Japan and China. 7,000 billion will be sell. I don't even know what that means. Let's see, the news. Israeli Iron Dome deploys to Ukraine for intercept. Wow, that would be huge. So remember during watching that war where the Israelis were blowing up everything with the dome. Well, it looks like it's in Ukraine now. I don't know. They seem to think it'll end in the springtime. We'll see. Oh, here we go. Ric Flair and Hogan. There you go, Bobby. He's won. Ric Flair on Hulk Hogan's current health. I didn't know he wasn't healthy, but taking steroids probably is. There's not that much on YouTube. There's a good one, Bobby. Stone Cold on Brock Lesnar. So we'll have to watch that one. Anyway, we will see. So not much else. No comments, no questions. www.teaserking.com. Feel free to go there, get my email, and ask questions. I get a lot of questions. Like Nick asked me about cards. He's going to a card show, I think. So he asked me, what do I do? So my advice to Nick was, what I would do is I buy 1961 Topps baseball, 1965 Topps baseball, 1968 baseball and football, and you just buy the player. You'd buy Joe Namath, you'd buy Jim Brown, you buy Bart Starr, you buy Willie Mays and Hank Aaron. You buy them mint condition, as mint as you can get, but not graded, with the intent of I'm not paying that much, but they're superstars and they're not graded, so they're cheap. Then I get them graded and they're worth 1,000 times of what I paid for them. Like me with my Montana, I probably paid $100 for it. It's worth 100,000 if it's a 10. If it's a 9, it's probably worth 20,000. That's my Brady card. I don't think I paid $100 for that rookie refractor. That the non-refractor 10 is going for 30,000. Imagine what my refractor is going for. So that's kind of how you got to buy it. You're buying it low, but if you can read the condition, you know that corners are sharp, the centering sharp, the pitcher's sharp. This is going to grade very high, which means it'll be worth more because how many cards are graded very high, and the price for the high graded cards are a lot higher than the non-graded cards. So that's what you do. So I told him to do that, going to the card shows. I haven't been to a card show in years. You know, no, I got so many cards. Right now, I'm like, okay, how do I get them all graded and sold? I don't need any more. I picked up a Mahomes 50 count, cheap, but really, maybe the only thing I need would be a Burrow, maybe. But I got Montana and I got Brady and one Mahomes card. Do I really need that? As funny as I don't have any, I got one Aaron Rodgers, I think, or two. I don't have a lot of Aaron Rodgers. He only won one Super Bowl. That's where you draw the line. The guys won one Super Bowl. The guys, the Brady's are unique, but even like Russell Wilson, I'm surprised he only won one Super Bowl. I mean, he was great. He was on a great team. Should have won two, but he made the mistake. He didn't read the defense. He didn't audible out the play, and he should have hit the Dave Casper pass instead of the obvious, the stacked receivers and throwing it. The guy knew the play, intercepted it. That you blame on Russell Wilson, and it cost them. They would have had two Super Bowls, and they probably would have had three or four. The way they were playing, you couldn't beat that defense. So that's what you really get is you really get that. Um, that's what you're trying to get to is the right cards and the right players. So Burrow hasn't won anything, so I don't spend a lot on Burrow, even though we like him. We like Herbert too, but Herbert doesn't even do anything in the playoffs. So really, it gets down to people like Super Bowl winners, right? Joe Namath, he won one Super Bowl, but his cards got big value. Bart Starr won two. Unitas won one or two. I know he won one against Dallas. Should have won against the Jets. Couldn't beat nobody could beat the Packers. The Colts, the Vikings, none of the Rams. Nobody could beat the Packers. Cleveland had a good team. But see, when you got a good running game and a good defense and a smart coach, it's very hard to beat them. So if you take that into consideration, the best running game is Philly against KC. The best defense is Philly against KC. And the best coach, probably Philly against KC. It ain't Andy Reid. That's what I love is these announcers trying to say how good Andy Reid is. Like, what part do you think he's good at? Losing the 6 championship games with Philly or losing the 4 with Kansas City? So you've lost 10 championship games or, 5 times to get to the Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls. The other 3 times that you're not in there. I don't know what that was. Who called? I have no idea. So that's why I don't understand. Like when he was on Philly, there wasn't much competition. See, nobody looks at the whole picture of the competition. Brady didn't play. He lost to the good Steeler teams and the good Baltimore teams. Uh, he'd win. He beat Carolina. He beat. Okay, give him the Rams, and then he beat. Um, you know, Dallas wasn't good. Frisco wasn't good, so he didn't beat them. Oakland. So a lot of the good teams weren't there. And everybody just looks at Brady winning 5 Super Bowls, but not who did he? The one team that he should have beat, the Giants, weren't even any good, and he lost to them twice. So I don't know, but if you look at the best running and the best defensive teams, that's Philadelphia for the Super Bowl. If you want to play it that way, I think at the end, defense always is the key to it. That's why I prefer KC being the favorite. If KC's the favorite, I love Philly, and I love the game over. If it's not, I don't love Kansas City. That's my problem, right? I don't love Kansas City because of Philly's defense and Philly's running attack. I think Philly wins the game, but the question is by how many, and that's really the problem. That's why I'm struggling to come up with it. I'd rather have KC favored, and then I'll take Philly as the dog. It's the better dog because of the defense. I like betting the defense, so I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see what the line moves to. Hopefully, during the week, it'll go KC minus 1.5, and we'll jump on Philly at 7.5. What else? I don't know. You guys like the props? Oh, I'm not a big prop person. It's very hard to predict. Anyway, at a loss. Any comments, questions, please feel free. I'm here a lot doing it live for those questions, comments. Excuse my cold. That's why I do the live. I used to just do videos, and I'd say my spiel for 45 minutes, my picks. This way, it's a little bit more. You can ask me questions, and we'll go. So anyway, I think we've covered everything. Again, game we're waiting on. We like the over. Probably will take the dog. Gold's going to go through the roof. It's just a matter of time, but we can't. I don't know why we can't identify the time for it to blow up. It's a lot of JP Morgan price fixing and just corruption. It's like Madoff. You knew it was a scam, but you didn't know when it would end. For some reason, it took till 2008. It took for the housing market to crash. This is the same thing. The China's housing market crashed. The Russia's at war. I mean, it can't hold on much longer because they need the price of gold to go up. So it's really going to be soon, I believe. But again, you can't say, I can say the Super Bowl next Sunday, but I can't say that. But there's no reason it shouldn't go up. It needs to go up. They need to back their currency by gold. They need to get off the U.S. dollar. So all that is pointing towards a higher gold price, and how long they can keep these derivatives going like they did today. How that happened, I don't understand how the price interest rates go up. So the dollar goes up, even though the dollar is heavily inflated, and then gold goes down because the dollar goes up. Okay, but that's not real. Nobody sold. What the fuck's going on that happens? Why is that in control of the gold market? That's the question. Why are the derivative guys in charge of the gold market? Why is the gold market even listening to them? That's kind of the question. It should just be physical, right? Well, I have it. Nobody sold it. There's huge demand. All you've done is lower the price so more people can buy it. I mean, eventually, I guess you'll run out, and then there is no more to buy, and then it really goes to the roof. But, you would think you would be buying it at these prices, not selling it from 1950 to 1880. Who the fuck's selling it? And that's the problem. They're not really selling real gold. They're just selling paper, the derivatives. So it's not even real. That's really the problem. All right, I guess that's about it. I'll watch some more and see if I can come up with some YouTube stuff that I see on the war, on gold, on the economy. But keep in mind, we are in a recession, headed towards a depression, and interest rates will keep going up until they blow up the system, which is basically the euro and the yen and the yuan and the ruble and Swiss franc, British pound. All that'll be blown up. That's when it moves. So that's what's happening. I'm going to go cook some hamburgers and have some dinner. It's 3 o'clock. All right, everybody. Well, have a good weekend. Enjoy. www.teaserking.com. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Please, www.teaserking.com. If you want questions or comments, please feel free to ask. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a nice day, everybody. Take care.